Hey everyone, what's up? It is June 1st, to 2018. It is a Friday. Thank God it's Friday, right? As well as here in the Central Valley, mostly in Patterson. It is the start, if you will. It is the start, if you will, of the Apricot Fiesta, the 48th annual Apricot Fiesta. It is the start of it. And the truth is, I didn't go to the first day, which would be this evening, 5 to 8, due to the fact that I was working for 6 hours and 45 minutes. Go figure that schedule out if you want to. Um, as well as the fact that I would have been a little too tired and everything, but that's just me. I mean, I really wasn't planning on going tonight. That was the thing, because the plan was my mom was going to come. When my mom dropped me off, she offered to take me to work instead of taking the bus, and she was going to pick me up. But then my second older sister calls her up, says she wants to go to the fiesta because she's not sure about tomorrow, which I still believe she'll be going anyway, because they usually don't miss a Saturday edition of the fiesta. So there's no doubt she'll probably be going. Um, so basically, my sister texted me as well, told me, kind of reaffirmed what my mom had texted me about, because she had called her on the phone. But she also said that my mom had made the notion, mentioned to her that, well, if your brother doesn't want to go, he can just take the bus home. And like I said, I really wasn't planning on going, so there you go. Uh, but I do probably plan to go. But I am going to plan to go tomorrow. What's going to happen is I'm going to end up getting a change of clothes with me, probably my shorts and my shirt, and taking it with me to work, and then going from work and walking down to the fiesta, because my mom will already be down there with my older sister. Um, but yeah, I plan to. That's my plan. And even though it's supposed to be like 96 tomorrow for a high here in Patterson, California, I should say, basically hot around the Central Valley, period, I'm still going to do that. um, I do apologize for the noise. My neighbor is doing something. Hold on for a sec. There we go. It's a little bit more quiet. But like I said, I do apologize for the noise. But yeah, I plan to go to the fiesta tomorrow after work. Like I said, I basically the buses, and the reason being is, even if I wanted the bus home, the bus wouldn't show up until about 3:30. Bus scheduling is really weird right now, and the bus stop right now has to go through an alternate stop when it gets to Patterson, because usually it stops at the Memorial Park, the park in the town square, the city square, for about 10 minutes, for the drivers to relax, unwind a little bit, use the facilities. But they have to kind of reroute themselves now and stop in front of what we call the Yellow Store. That's what it's called in town. No offense to that. Which is a Mexican store. Again, no offense. It's just been called the Yellow Store for who knows how long, even before I got there. Because that's an alternate stop area for them to go when something like the Apricot Fiesta is in town. So, anyway, hold on for a second, let me see what's going on here. Anyway, that's not what I'm really doing this video. I mean, yeah, one of the big gratifying news items to come out of come out of my job, I will say this is we can now work more casually. I mean, basically, we still got to wear our vest and everything, but we can be a little bit more comfortable in how we work. Basically, long story short, we can wear. Basically, it's got to be appropriate. It's got to be regulation appropriate. We can wear jeans, no holes, no nothing on those. Pattern or plain shirts, t-shirts as well, and that's about it. And we can also wear regular tennis shoes and all that. Of course, anybody does that anyway. But we could get basically we can be more comfortable, be more ourselves, so that when we get off of work, we won't have to worry about going home and changing out of the monkey suit or going into one of the restrooms and changing to go to something like the Fiesta. We can just be ready to do it. We won't like in my case. I go to work. I'll have a pair of jeans on and a plain shirt. But when I get ready to clock out, I won't have to worry about changing that much because I plan to have my tank top because it's going to be hot tomorrow. I plan to have a tank top underneath me, underneath my shirt. You may have a pair of shorts ready, so all I have to do is just take the tank top off when I get ready to leave. When I get ready to leave, I just plan to take the tank top off and go from there. Just go from there, and like I said, let's get my shorts on and everything, go from there. But anyway, like I said, that's not what I'm here to talk about as well. I'm also here to talk about some things that have been going on. Some things that have been going on. I didn't mention this in the description or anything because these are just things I want to list off. Nor did I put tags on them because these are things I want to talk about. And that's my dog. She wants her snacks right now. Hold on for a sec. Oh yeah. Whoa. Sorry, folks. Here. Sorry about that, folks. She loves to have her snacks. It kind of calms her down a little bit. Keeps her in line. I don't know what else you can look at. But yeah, sorry about that. Just got to get the mic adjusted here a little bit. There we go. But yeah, basically, there are a few things I didn't tag or anything here, but I wanted to talk about. One of them I want to talk about, of course, is the NBA Finals, which, being a Warriors fan and being from the Bay Area, I'm happy at the fact that they have made it for a fourth time on the end. Right now, they seem to be on the verge of becoming three-time champions. That's what they look like. They look like they're on the verge of becoming three-time champions down the line. They look like that right now. That's the Warriors, that is. Especially after last night's dominant second half and mostly the dominant overtime portion of the game. But speaking of the Warriors and the Cavs, yeah, I am for the Warriors. There's no doubt. But it seems that a lot of people, I don't know what it is, but it seems a lot of people again, I don't know what it is, but it seems a lot of people are crapping it seems a lot of people are crapping, if you will, hold on for a sec. But it seems a lot of people are crapping on the fact that the Warriors and the Cavaliers are playing for the fourth time in a row in the NBA Finals. And a lot of people have said that, and the only positive thing I think I've heard anybody say is, believe it or not, from the media saying that it's unprecedented. Yeah. It's unprecedented that the same two teams going to meet in the finals. Oh, for a sec. And what I find funny is a lot of people seem to forget that in other sports, even if it's against the same teams or even the same teams, period, going up against each other, some people seem to forget that certain teams have made it to the Super Bowl, to the World Series, to the Stanley Cup Finals more often than any other teams. Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl. Lose? Did they lose? Yes, but they made it 4 times in a row. Did anybody complain about that? No. Dallas Cowboys, 4 times in a row. What happened? Most of the time they won those, right? Did anybody complain about those? No. New England Patriots, how many times did they get to the Super Bowl back to back to back? And did people complain about that? No. New York Yankees, how many times did they get to the World Series back to back to back to back? Did anybody complain about that? No. What about the LA Kings in the Stanley Cup Finals? Huh? Boston Bruins, Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm just saying, the list can go on and on and on. The point is, you could be mad all you want. You could be upset all you want. But the reason the Warriors and the Cavs are in the damn finals for the fourth time is because they're good. They know how to play the game. And we're not talking political game, although some people will believe that, especially with LeBron James, or mostly the officials in the NBA. People will believe that. But the truth is, the Warriors and the Cavs know how to turn it up when it matters the most. They know how to take it to that next level when it's all on the line. And that's what they've been doing. Sure, some people can believe that, oh, the NBA offices want the best matchup for the best ratings, and the Cavs and the Warriors, James versus Curry, Love versus Thompson. Oh, those are great matchups. Those are Hall of Fame matchups. Let's make it happen. I'm sure you're thinking that. I'm sure you're thinking people in the NBA Finals are like, okay, you guys go to the head offices of Houston and Boston, tell them to make sure their team loses. Have them meet with their team, say, play as hard as you can, get it to maybe in a thrilling game 7, but then losing game 7 so that way we can have Warriors and Cavs. And here's $1 million bonus to make sure you do that. You can believe that all you want, and maybe part of that's true. But the point is, true or not, and hold on for a second. Sorry about that, folks. I had to let my dog out. But again, you're telling me. But again, you can believe all you want about certain things. You can believe. You can believe all you want about certain things. You can believe that maybe this is a conspiracy or whatever. The truth is, the Warriors and the Cavs know how to turn it on when it matters the most. And even if there is some kind of conspiracy, even if there is some kind of political game going behind the scenes because they want to have the best matchups in the NBA Finals for the best ratings, you can't blame them. I mean, come on. How many times did Tom Brady get to the Super Bowl? Huh? How many times? I'm just saying. How many times did he get to the Super Bowl? How many times did he win it with New England? How many times have people said there's a conspiracy, political games or not because of that? And we the people believed it or they didn't. You know why? Because Brady, whether you like the guy or you don't, knows how to turn it on when it matters the most. Same with Peyton Manning. And so you might say, well, that's true, but there's got to be more than that. There's got to be some kind of hidden agenda. And that might be the case. Maybe they feel Brady brings ratings. Maybe they feel Manning brings ratings. You can't blame them. I mean, let's be honest. If you were in charge of the NBA and you had a deal, or any kind of sports league, and you had a deal with a national television company to air your world championship, even if it was one game, a best of 7 or whatever, if you had a deal with them to air your world championship, wouldn't you want to make sure that deal? Wouldn't you want to sure that deal was sweetened, kept intact? You wanted to basically make sure nothing went wrong. Wouldn't you do what it took to make sure that deal? To make sure you could prove to that cable network, that national television network, hey, you made the right decision? Of course you would. You'd do anything you had to. And if you have to play a political game and pay off the owners of the teams that were beat, then so be it. You're going to do it. If you have to pay off the refs, you're going to do it. We may not like it, but you're going to do it. Like I said, you're going to do it. If you're in charge, if you have a deal laid out for your league to be aired on a national television network, and part of that deal is to have that national television network air your world championship, wouldn't you do whatever it took to sweeten the deal and say, hey, we're going to give you the best? And part of that, because in part of that deal, you're promising, hey, we're going to give you the best matchups, especially when it comes to the world championship. Wouldn't you do the best to make sure that came true? Of course you would. It may not be the most honest thing to do, it may not be the most ethical thing to do, but from a business standpoint, you're going to damn well do it. That's why, whether you like it or you don't, that's why, just move my thing there for a second. But, that's why you have the Warriors and the Cavs. True, people might say they don't really belong there, and it seemed that their teams that they beat that were pushing them to the edge were better than them. They should have been there. And all of a sudden they decided to just give it up. You might feel there's something there that doesn't feel right. And again, you have all the right to it. Maybe the Rockets and the Celtics should have been in the finals. Hey, I don't disagree with that. But who on both? But think about it this way: star power, ratings, drawing power. Who do the Celtics and the Rockets have? Who do they have? James Harden for the Rockets? Okay. What about the Celtics? See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? The truth is, it's all about ratings, and ratings equal money. Equals money in the end. That's why you're constantly going to have teams like the Warriors and the Cavs. And unless by some miraculous chance, let's say LeBron becomes a free agent and goes to Golden State, and the only people that the Cavs have are Kevin Love, and that other Thompson guy and J.R. Smith, that's not enough star power for Cleveland to probably be considered for the finals. Think about that. You think the league's going to look at the fact that now LeBron James is with the Warriors or with the Lakers or whoever and be like, you know what? Cavs got really nobody anymore. They've got no more star power. You know what? Officials, make sure that team loses. Or they'll look at the head coach or the head offices of Cleveland and say, make sure your team loses. You don't think that's not what it's about? Because it is. It has always been about that. Always. It's always been about that. And it always will be about that. You know that as well as I do. It's always going to be about that. It's always going to be about that. And I think people need to realize that. I mean, does it suck sometimes? Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely sucks. But what are you going to do? Huh? What are you going to do? It just, of course it sucks. course it sucks. But you know what? That's how it's played. That's how the game is played around here. We may not like it. You know, we may not, care for it or anything like that. But that's how it is. It's not rocket science, folks. It really isn't. It's not rocket science, folks. It really isn't. To know that the only reason the Warriors and the Cavs are in the finals for the fourth time is ratings. It's star power, it's ratings. Okay? You might say, the Rockets, if that's the case, ratings would have counted for the Rockets because of what happened in the Texas area. Yeah, and look, it's tragic of what happened in Texas. And yeah, it would have been a great story for Texas, for Houston to go all the way and dedicate the win to that school in Texas for the tragedy that happened to it. Absolutely. But do you think that really, really matters? As to the NBA, to anybody else? Of course not. Doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter to them whatsoever. Yeah, I'm going to get to the Roseanne thing in a little bit. Don't worry. And I did hear about a new Pokemon game, but I think that's more like my nephews are going to get. But anyway, that's all that matters to them, really. That's all that matters is ratings. That's it. I mean, that is it. I mean, let me put it to you like this. When the WWE was doing the Attitude Era, okay, that was a result of what WCW had done with the NWO. The NWO angle soared, helped WCW soar for 83 weeks in a row. Why do you think Eric Bischoff what's the word I'm looking for? Why do you think Eric Bischoff prides himself on that? Why do you think that brings a smile on his face? Why do you think he's able to look in his trophy case and see a trophy? Maybe it's not really there, but see an imaginary trophy that says 83 weeks in a row, WCW destroyed WWF. Because he earned it. He earned it due to the fact that he brought together, along with some of the best star power you can think of, an angle, a faction that no one ever thought was possible. Yes, it was an idea that came out of Japan, but once he brought that stateside and put his own little spin on it, and then added the right ingredients from Hall, Nash, Hogan, you name it, he had a winner on his side, and off to the races he went. And then you combine that with the fact that he decides, I'm going to open up Nitro and my Monday Nitros, my Saturday nights, and even my upcoming Thunders and pay-per-views with cruiserweight action that you can't get anywhere else. And then combine that with bringing in a guy like Goldberg, who basically you just allowed to come in, spear somebody, beat the crap out of them, and then leave. You had a recipe for success. And why do you think it was always repetitive? Why do you think Goldberg kept squashing jobbers or well-renowned mid-carders or or lower mid-carders or mid or upper main or low main eventers and all that? Why do you think no matter what they would do to him, it wouldn't stop him? And it was always rinse and repeat with that because it was a formula for success. Why do you think the NWO kept acting the way they did and kept repeating doing backstage assaults and attacking and doing this and that, or even having Hogan and Bischoff lay down in the middle of the ring and just conduct a self-absorbed interview? Because it worked. It was gold. It felt realistic. I mean, heck, they went as far as to give the NWO their own freaking pay-per-view to prove a point. And what did WWF do? They saw that this was kicking their butts, and Vince McMahon says, you know what, we got to do something about it. He uses what happened in Montreal as the foundation to basically say, you know what, screw this kiddie crap, screw this next generation crap. We're going full-blown attitude, 18 to 35-year-old demographic, and we're not looking back. Well, at least that's what they were hoping to not do. But the thing is, they decided to go that direction, and guess what? You sprinkle in a little influence from ECW, and you got a formula for success that basically destroyed WCW in the end. And the point is, sometimes it was repetitive with Austin going after McMahon or McMahon screwing Austin or stuff like that. But that was the ratings grabber. That was a formula for success, just like the NWO was a formula for success in WCW. True, most times some of the angles and moments and stuff were repetitive, maybe a little different but repetitive, but guess what? It kept people's eyes on the product. It kept those eyes glued to the channels. And that's a fact. It kept their eyes glued to the channel. And true, it was repetitive, no doubt. True, Hogan holding on the belt as long as he did was getting monotonous. But guess what? Until they had the perfect opponent for him in Goldberg, it was still a success. It was still a ratings draw. The point is, even if something is repetitive, it's going to draw. Heck, you take a look at Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. You know, you may not like Roman Reigns being in 4 main events of WrestleMania, but guess what? It draws ratings. It draws, well, not ratings. It draws buy rates, which is pretty much similar ratings. Not really, but similar. It draws buy rates. It draws viewers. Whether you like it or you don't, it's the truth. And that's how you have to look at the Cavs and the Warriors. We may not like the fact that it's always seemingly Warriors and Cavs for the past 4 years, and basically it's LeBron and Love versus Curry and Thompson. You know, we may not like it, but it's a ratings draw. It's a ratings winner. And there you go. And again, like I said, you can believe all the political backstage crap you want. It might be true of how this game, how seemingly it's 4 years in a row of the same two teams. But again, ask yourself this. What about New England? What about Dallas in the NFL? Huh? And all the back-to-back years they got into the Super Bowl. Yankees, what about all the back-to-back years they got in the World Series? Just saying, folks. It equals up to a few things. Star power and ratings. That's it. And again, we may not like it. We may get sick and tired of it. But until those ratings drop, until viewers drop, you know, until the ratings and the viewers drop, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. If LeBron stays with Cleveland for the next year or so, and Curry and Thompson stay with the Warriors for the next year or so, guess what? It's not going to stop. You may see Warriors and Cavs for the 5th year in a row in the finals if they stay on there. So, yeah. That's basically what you got to look at. You got to look at that from the fact that no matter how you feel, ratings is always going to be the reason. Star power is always going to be the reason. That's it. But speaking of the finals, Stephen A. Smith. Let's talk about Stephen A. Smith for a second. So last night, there was a moment in overtime where it looked like some kind of foul took place. But due to the fact that it was in a certain time restraint of the game in overtime, and LeBron was blocking, not getting charged by, I don't know if it's Thompson or Curry or whoever, or Young, can't remember. But basically LeBron was in a position where it looked like he was charged when he fell to the ground, but he was in a zone, in a time limit that basically allowed the decision of what would have been a charge foul against the Warriors and probably would have given Cleveland a shot at the game and winning the game. He was in a position, in a zone on the court, in a certain time frame of the overtime portion of the game, where the officials were able to overrule it and call it a foul or a block. Basically call LeBron's thing a block instead of being charged. And yet Stephen A. Smith wants to come out and say this needs to change, that this was the wrong call to make, and that it needed to be changed. Stephen, with all due respect, man, I enjoy your commentary. There is no doubt you're one of the best, if not one of the most controversial figures on ESPN. And one of the most outspoken, don't get me wrong. But dude, are you being serious here? You being serious? I mean, come on. Come on. You know as well as I do. You're probably one of the biggest advocates for the NBA in history, as far as I know, when it comes to ESPN. And yet, you want to come out and say that something that you know was the correct call to reverse shouldn't have been reversed? You know what that makes you, Stephen, in the eyes of a lot of people? It makes you a LeBron. It makes you. How do I put this? How do I put this? It makes you. How do I put this in the most respectful way? It makes you look like you're being paid off by the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James to side with him. It makes it look like you are being paid off by LeBron James himself and the Cleveland Cavalier officials to side with Cleveland, to side with LeBron. And maybe that's not true. Maybe you siding with LeBron might be a good career decision, because there are other broadcast avenues out there, and you're probably realizing and thinking, just my opinion, with all due respect, Stephen A. Smith, with all due respect, you're probably thinking, if I side with LeBron and I say that this was wrong and this was wrong, and it makes LeBron look great, maybe these other networks might notice me and hire me away and pay me more money and probably let me meet more basically, I think, in my opinion, Stephen A. Smith, and maybe this is a good business move on your part, you're only siding with LeBron and what happened because you probably want a bigger role. You want bigger opportunities, not just at ESPN but elsewhere. You see what's going on with you see that Fox took away some of your Fox Sports took away some of your colleagues for their own show called Undisputed. So you're probably thinking, hey, maybe I can get that same opportunity if I do this, if I say these things. And, look, you have all the right to your opinion, Stephen A. Smith, but you know as well as I do that what happened last night, in that situation, was the reversal was the right call to make. You know that. You know it was the right call. You can't sit there and tell the world that it wasn't, and half the people on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter are basically telling you are wrong. You might be right in your own opinion. You might be correct. You might feel like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. You guys don't. And hey, that's fine. You do have a little bit more knowledge about the business. You have a little bit more knowledge about what goes on behind the scenes in sports of all kinds. Give you credit on that. That's why you're one of the best. One of the best outspoken, if not controversial, figures. There is, you know, not saying that you don't know what you're talking about, because you probably know more about anything than myself, people at OTR Central, people at places like the OTR Central YouTube page, Bleacher Report, Fox Sports, even your colleagues at ESPN. You probably know more than them. And that's with all due respect. That's with all due respect. You probably do know more. You probably have more knowledge than anybody can give you credit for. But you should know as well as anybody that call was that reversal was the right call to make. And look, I understand. Maybe you see the bigger picture. Maybe you see that Warriors got 2 NBA final wins over the Cavs, and the Cavs need to even it up. So you could basically next year have a fifth and final game. You can have the rubber final. That maybe you feel that the bigger picture is, hey, next year we could have the finals could be the rubber match. See who wins 3 out of 2 of the 5 finals. And maybe you'll be right about that. And maybe that's what you'll get. Maybe. Excuse me. Maybe that's what you'll get. But the truth is right now, and I know, look, I've seen you on television. I watched you on First Take. I've watched you when it was under its original name called Pizza Something. And the thing is, I know you're a very emotional, outspoken guy. And you have all the rights to feel the way you do. But the truth of the matter is this. The call that was made, that reversal was the right call to make. And Stephen A. Smith, with all due respect, it's true. It's a fact that it was the right call to make. It wasn't the wrong call to make. It was the right call to make. You know that as well as I do. You know that. So that's all I'm going to say, Stephen. I mean, with all due respect, like I said, you know that as well as I do. You know that. Anyway, besides that, I'll be right back for a sec. Sorry about that. Had to go take care of something for my dog. Basically, give her some fresh water and a little snack again. But anyway, yeah, that's just what I want to say on that part. But now let's talk about something else. Let's talk about Impact Wrestling. I know, surprising, right? Well, like a lot of you, I've been paying attention to Impact through the YouTube clips and everything. And, wow. I don't know what to say about Impact. I mean, it looks like they're doing good. According to some people, the ratings are slightly up, or slightly better. But, I don't know what to say, really. I don't know. I don't know what to say, really. I mean, it looks like they're going in the right direction with some things, but then again, it doesn't look like they are. Uh, I mean, it's kind of confusing, and maybe that's what's making it a good watch. Sorry about that. Maybe that's what's making it a good watch for people. We don't know what's going on. I mean, yeah, we may get spoiled about, oh, this happens and that happens, but honestly, we don't know what's going on. Honestly, I mean, I'll look at this. I'll look at it this way. What they're doing with Sue Young, I say keep it up. I say keep it up what they're doing with Sue Young, Rosemary, and Allie. Keep it up. I say keep it up what they're doing with those three, because you know what? It's going to lead to something. And you know what I think it's going to lead to? It's going to lead to some kind of hardcore match that's never been done for the knockouts. I don't know if it'll be a barbed wire massacre. Don't know if it'll be first blood. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it'll be a match they haven't done in a while, which is a a monster's ball involving the knockouts. I don't know. I mean, all we know is that Rosemary right now legitimately is out with an injury. That's why they did that segment they did with Sue Young and her undead zombie brides burning the casket. But here's the thing, though. As good as what they're doing with Sue Young and Allie and Rosemary, we've seen this before in WWE and other places. We know that the person that seemingly is like an Undertaker-like individual or darkness-like individual cannot be destroyed. I mean, Rosemary talks about the hive. So what's preventing Rosemary from coming back and winning back the Knockouts Championship from Sue Young? It makes sense, yeah. Now, I don't know if they're going to repeat that same kind of segment with her trying to burn the casket with Allie in it, and then Sue Young emerges. I mean, not Sue Young, but Rosemary emerges, or some kind of darkness takes over, some kind of ultimate darkness takes over Allie, and she ends up emerging from the burning casket as some kind of different form of what she is, and maybe that sort of freaks Sue Young out even. We don't know. But I will say this, keep that up. Keep that up, really. Keep it up. As far as what they're doing with LAX, it looks like they're trying to turn them into tweeners now. Maybe back to heel status. I don't know. Because there is a spoiler going around that LAX wins back the tag team titles. There is a spoiler there. But we don't know what's going on. And they're being led by Kingston. Eddie Kingston. And he suddenly appears out of nowhere saying he's like now in charge because homicides with Conan and Conan got beat up. Okay. So Eddie Kingston is now in charge of LAX. You know what this tells me? LAX may turn heel or be tweeners, but they're going to figure out something's up. Storyline logic is they'll figure out that something is not right, and all fingers are going to point to Eddie Kingston as being the one behind it, and that might lead to a match. That might lead to a match between Kingston and whoever his partner is, and Ortiz and Santana. That might lead to Homicide coming back and fighting Kingston in a hardcore match because they've been known to do that against each other. Heck, Homicide and Kingston have teamed up together. Who's to say Homicide's not in on it? So we don't know what's going on there. That's a good intrigue there. But at least it's revitalizing LAX. I will give them that. And then on top of that, you got this whole X thing going around. Like, who's attacking people? And they did this segment at the beginning of Impact where Sanjay addressed the roster and said they're going to get down to business to finding out who it is. And what's funny is it seemed the camera focused a lot on Petey Williams. But why would Petey be the one? Or at least involved? What, is Petey getting sick and tired of being shunned? Being overlooked since he's come back? Is that why he's doing it? So he's taking out everybody that stands in his way? Some people have even said some people have even predicted that it could be Killshot, Shane Strickland from Lucha Underground. And it just might be. It just might be, because people say the X matches the one that Killshot has. But we don't know. So again, we don't know. So again, these three things that I've just mentioned are probably three of the best things going on for Impact. It really is. But what I worry about, and I'm sure a lot of fans worry about, is, Impact will end up screwing all of it up. So let me understand this. A company that's gone through so much crap is on the rebound, and they potentially have 3 good story arcs going for them right now. Yet, we don't know the end result. We don't know the end game for these. Most importantly, we don't know what the end game is for finding out who's doing the attacks behind the scenes. Okay. That's understandable. So we don't know who it could be. We don't know what they're doing with LAX. So let me understand this. You got this all happening, but do you have an end game? We know Slammiversary is coming up. That's your second, if not second biggest, if not the biggest show of the year for you. Next to Bound for Glory, you need to have an end game. You need to have an end game, and hopefully you're going to have that end game. But I don't know. I don't know with Impact, It's like you want to give them a chance, but they don't give you any idea. I mean, true, they may have hinted at the fact that Mr. X could be Petey Williams, but we don't know that. We don't know if it's Petey. That's the thing. We don't know. We don't know if it could be Petey. We don't know who it could be. Again, we don't know who it could be. So let me understand this. They got this potential potentially a lot of things going for them, but they haven't given us any kind of clues or hints as to maybe what's really going to happen. But yet, some people are probably already predicting they're going to fail. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest things going on in entertainment right now. One of the biggest news stories. What Roseanne did. Apparently, Roseanne said something racist about Obama, about Michelle Obama, or something like that. I don't want to talk too much about that, say what she said. But apparently, she's put out a racist tweet. And because of that racist tweet, and other things that she had said on Twitter, ABC, which is owned by Disney, by the way, decides to cancel the Roseanne revival after one season. So basically, all you'll get on DVD or Blu-ray, if they even release the series there, is a 13-episode run. Or whatever, how many episodes it was. All because Roseanne opened her mouth again. And then Roseanne says she never wanted to be back on Twitter or social media or something like that. I don't know. But she still goes back on it. She swears it off after what she did because she apologizes for saying what she did. So she swears off social media. But then she goes back on it. And instead starts blasting her former co-stars. She starts blasting her former co-stars. And that's my dog. She's itching. And that's my dog right now. She's itching. She's okay. She's fine. You know how animals are with fleas. She's fine. But like I said, she swears off Twitter after she apologizes for what she says. She says the reason for it was late. She was lack of sleep. Maybe she was drinking. We don't know. She was basically incoherent. But then, after her co-workers say something about it, basically how they're disappointed, stuff like that, she decides to lash out. She goes back on Twitter, lashes out on them, and that's pretty much the end of the series. It's pretty much the final nail in the coffin for the show. And it's not just the original, it's not just this new revival. It's not just this new revival. But I think it's also her original run that was taken off some of the streaming services it was on, or being shown on, and some of the syndicated television networks. And part of this racist tweet centered around one of her young female co-stars who was portrayed as the daughter of DJ, her son, her television son. You know, with Roseanne, it's like you give her a chance, and it's to take 5 steps forward, and she succeeds in doing so. But then she ends up taking 6 steps back after she takes those 5 steps forward. Roseanne, people are still going to probably love you. A lot of people are still going to respect you. People are probably going to look at this incident and let it blow over after a few months. And who knows, in a few years, maybe you'll get another shot at reviving your series. But I think this should be a lesson, Roseanne, not just to you, but to anybody else who made their name on a television series that ran from the 80s to the 90s, if not the early 2000s. And that is, if you're going to revive your series in the same timeline and continuity and canon and all that the original was, but it takes place years later, remember, things change. Things are different from when they were then. Remember, ABC wasn't owned by Disney when your original run of Roseanne first started and ended. Well, Disney had just come into owning ABC by the time it ended, but still, this is not the same ABC. You can't get away with that kind of stuff because now you're under the watchful eye of a family-friendly worldwide conglomerate company in Disney. In Disney, they may take chances at times of doing things. They may put themselves in controversial situations too. But they still try to maintain a family-friendly image. And what you did on Twitter was not family-friendly. I think this has to be a lesson to, like I said, a lot of people that want to probably think about reviving their shows on whatever networks they were on that help make a name for themselves. In today's world and society, you can't go on social media or any kind of platform and say what you want without getting in trouble. You can't, because word will get out. Word will get out to the people that are supporting you or giving you this opportunity to make a comeback. It'll get to them, and they may have second guesses. They may have second guesses of, did they make the right decision or they didn't? And I'll give you an example. WWE has found itself in hot water sometimes. When it was on UPN CW in the mid 2000s, it did that controversial angle with Muhammad Assad and The Undertaker, where you had these terrorist like guys dressed in black, all in black, with a wire thing around The Undertaker's neck, attacking him. Terrorists, if you will. And what was it? Sean Daivari was taken out as a martyr. Do you think that made UPN happy? Not really, especially with the fact that 24 hours later, or within that same time frame and week, a terrorist attack in London occurred. And do you think they like that? Do you think UPN, CW like the idea that, oh my God, we're going to be airing this angle and this just happened? No, they don't. And it all happened on the same day. Do you think they like that? No, they don't. They got negative backlash because of that, and thus they had to throw that negative backlash, if not more so, into WWE. So what did WWE have to do? They had to take Muhammad Hassan off television for good. They ended the guy's career, and it wasn't because of injury, but because of controversial decisions. The truth is, you can't, in today's society, over the past near 20 years, if not more so, we are now living in a society of social media, social justice, whatever, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, where if you say the wrong thing and you're on a major platform, and you're part of this major platform like WWE or ABC or NBC or CBS or Fox, and you pull certain crap that may not be, prohibited, you're going to get yourself in hot water. And Roseanne did that. I don't know. I mean, look, I don't know whether or not to believe the fact it was sleep induced or what was going on. But apparently she didn't remember that this is a day and age now to where you cannot say certain things on television without controversy following, or without some kind of negative backlash or result. And any chance Roseanne had of, having another season of her revival, which looked like a strong chance, went down the toilet. It did. The only way I could see that series being revived by ABC is under the name The Arnolds, is under the name, like, let's say, The Arnolds, or whatever it's called. And they write in a storyline that, the mom of the series, which Roseanne portrays, that something happened to her. And that's the only way the series would be able to continue, if she gets written out of the story in some way. That's the only thing I can think. Either she goes to prison, something bad happens, we don't know. But that's the only way ABC would bring that series back. Is if they pulled, well, let's put it this way. I don't know if you guys remember the series called The Hogan Family. It used to be called Valerie's Family, or something like that. Or Valerie, or whatever it was called. It became The Hogan Family about in its second or so season. And Valerie Harper was still part of it. But when Valerie Harper had it out with the executives and the network behind the series, when she had it out with them, when some kind of situation happened behind the scenes to where it didn't work for her, what did the staff do? What did the network and the staff do? They didn't cancel the series, no, because it was a ratings winner for them. They decided to hire Sandy Duncan to come in, I think as the sister or the cousin or the guardian, can't remember. And the way they kept Valerie's character in the series is they wrote her off as being killed in a car accident or something happened. She basically died off screen. Now understand me there. Now understand me. I'm not saying they should do that to Roseanne's character if they still want to go and revive the series, but without Roseanne. They could basically say that Roseanne did something off screen or off panel that ended her that caused her to wind up in prison. Like she said something that she shouldn't have said, and she got arrested for it, and ended up in prison for a while because of that. They could do that. And the series would still be able to continue, but she wouldn't be a part of it, not just because of what happens to a character off screen, but because of what's happened behind the scenes, period, during the show's hiatus. They could do that. They could find a way around it if they wanted to bring the series back. They could. But again, like I said, today's world is a lot different than the world Roseanne's original, the original run of the original Roseanne show took place in. And even back then, Roseanne was very controversial. Here's the thing. She sang the national anthem. Who remembers her singing the national anthem horribly at a Mets game and then spitting on the ground afterwards? Didn't do any favors for a while, did it? She was able to keep her series, but I think something happened that, I don't know, kept it off the air for a while, or they didn't want to do new episodes unless she did something in return, apologized or whatever. I can't remember. Heck, they even mocked that on Tiny Toons, how I spent my summer vacation. That's how much crap she got herself into. The thing is, Roseanne is one of those actors, actresses, liberals, whatever, celebrities that, like I said about Stephen A. Smith earlier, is very outspoken. She's very outspoken, and she'll say what she wants to say, and she won't, and either she'll regret it later on and take it back, or she won't. She won't take it back. She won't regret it. Heck, or in this case, like we say, she might change her mind and not take back what she was originally going to take back. The thing is, she didn't take back what she originally was going to take back, because I think a part of her feels like she's in the right. And maybe she does. Maybe she does feel that way. We don't know. Maybe she does feel that way. We don't know. But the point is, like I said, in today's society, in today's world and society, especially, like I said, with the social media and all that, you can't say certain things, especially if you're part of a bigger platform, or like ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, CNN, WWE, UFC. You can't act certain ways without getting yourself in trouble, or without it reflecting negatively back on the people that are trying to give you this opportunity and this shot. You can't do that. So that's all I'm going to say on that. And Roseanne, or anybody else that wants to do what Roseanne did and try to get the show revived from the past for nostalgic reasons, a little bit of advice. Remember this. This is not the 80s. This is not the 90s, and this is not the early to mid 2000s. This is 2018. We are nearly entering another. We are 2 years or a year and a half away from a new decade. And all I could say is this: hopefully, what people that want to probably revive the show, that want to follow in the footsteps of Roseanne and revive their old shows, hopefully they'll learn the lesson here and be like, you know what? I want to say this, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to lose a chance of having this continue on for a new generation. And that's the only advice. So my advice, watch what you say. That's all I'm going to say, folks. That's all I'm going to say on that. Now, let's talk about something else. A little bit more lighter note here. Let's talk about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. And let's talk about shipping in My Little Pony. Basically, romantic shipping. Everybody knows that I'm a fan of Rarity Spike, Sparity. And I still believe that Rarity Spike, Sparity will happen possibly in the final season. Now, as I said, they'll find a way around it. I don't know how, but they'll find a way around it. But what's interesting is I talked about this in my character discussion I did earlier today during lunch about Spike. And I talked about the relationships people like to put him in. And the one that's always stuck out to me besides, being supportive of Rarity Spike is one that seems to be right up there with them or a little behind them. And that's Applejack and Spike. And I'm thinking, okay, that's unusual, but it might work. But my question is why? Why would anybody want to go in that direction? Why would anybody choose that? And I understand some people might say, well, people can ask the same question about people that support Rarity and Spike. Why would they want to go with that? And that's a good and that's a good question. That is a good question. That is a good question, but I think it's because of the fact when you take a look at Rarity and Spike, that's a pairing, that's a ship, if you will, romantically, that, as I've talked about before, and I'll stick by it, that I think even the creative staff knows is canon, is officially canon and officially part of the continuity. But the only reason, like I said, the only reason they don't come out and talk about it, at all, the only reason they don't talk about it at all is due to the fact it's the same reason they don't come out and say in an episode, oh yeah, Lyra and Bon Bon are girlfriends, so lesbian, so Yuri, whatever. It's because they still look at it as a kid's show. It's still a kid's show in their eyes. And the main audience still to them, besides the fact that they know they have a bunch of adult fans, my age, younger, older, that enjoy the show and go to the conventions and stuff. The only reason, what I'm saying is, the only reason they don't do that is because to them, they still have to appeal to that core kids audience, not the adults, because they probably realize, hey, the adults know what's going on, but the kids don't, so that's why we can't say anything. Because they probably think that if they say something, kids will be like, really? Lyra and Bon Bon? Yucky! Pooey! Or they'll look at Rarity and Spike and be like, really? Rarity and Spike? Yucky! Pooey! That's the mindset they have. That Rarity and Spike would be looked at as disgusting. Pretty much. Same with Lyra and Bon Bon. Pretty much. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know, what I'm trying to say is when what was that? Oh yeah. Well, but here's the thing. I still think Rarity and Spike's, like I said, Rarity and Spike's going to happen. But when I was doing, like I said, a character discussion, and I talked about, all these different ships and how Applejack and Spike were like right up there too for some reason. I mentioned, if I can find it here, I know I put it here somewhere. No, it's here somewhere. I don't know if I put it here or on question date. Oh, here we go. This is what I said on the MLP forums. This was my answer. If I can find it. This is what I said on the MLP forums, and I quote, "The only reason I can think of is that Applejack and Spike is more preferred than..." Okay, the only reason I can think of is the reason, I should have put the reason, that Applejack and Spike is more preferred than Sparity, and that's by the the Apple Spike supporters. That's what they call them, the Apple Spike. That's what they call the ship, Apple Spike. Is because folks see it as more real and believable. And if it came down to it, and let's say the story called for Spike to get a kiss on the lips, for whatever the story plot purpose is, folks believe AJ would be the one to do it more so than Rarity. That's the only reason people pretty much would support Apple Spike over Sparity. Because of the fact that they feel AJ is more of a believable love interest that would be willing to do something just no matter what the consequences or no matter what the situation is to help Spike. And if the story calls for Spike to get a kiss on the lips by a pony, by a female pony, and not even Rarity would even do that, or Rarity is incapacitated, I think a lot of people believe that the one that would step up would be Applejack. Would be Applejack, I should say. And that's maybe why they feel it's believable, that she's more willing to do something like that to help Spike. And yeah, there are some Applejack Spike moments in the show that are adorable, cute, funny. I mean, Spike at Your Service is pretty much, as some people would say, full of Apple Spike moments. Heck, there's a scene on YouTube, a clip on YouTube from Apple Family Reunion where Applejack grabs Spike, smiles at him, and he smiles back, and she uses him as a lighter to light a fire to cook food in a pot for the reunion. So yeah, there are some moments and everything. I don't know if there's many moments in the comics, but yeah, this is something that was really surprising. And like I said in the character thing, and I do apologize if anything, glitchy and all that happened during that video, that live feed. So I do apologize there. But like I said, if the creative staff decides, hey, romantically, Apple Spike is more believable than Sparity, and it's more acceptable, and fans would like it better. I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't have a problem, honestly, if they did that. It'd be a nice twist. It'd be a nice twist and all that. And but like I said, it would be a nice, twist and all that to see it happen because you would think, okay, they're going to go in one direction and then they end up going in another. That would be surprising. But like I said, I think, honestly, my honest opinion is they're still going to find a way to do Spike and Rarity. I don't know how they're going to find a way around it, but they're going to. Heck, I've read some stories on DeviantArt, from, like I said, from from written works to web comics to where even the fans have found a way around it. They have. There's a one multi-part story called Dilemma. It's more like a PG story, a bit of PG-13 towards the end, but it's a bit of a PG story. And I was just checking something. And what's funny is it deals with disparity issue in a good way because it focuses on Rarity realizing, oh my gosh, she's fallen in love with Spike. She's fallen in love with Spike, but she doesn't know how to accept this. And the story throughout the parts builds to that moment where she finally sees and accepts the fact that there's nothing wrong with her being in love with Spike because there's legitimate ways as to why it's happened. They even add Fluttershy in there for a good example by telling her about a book she has on dragons that kind of basically talks about the how something like love can help the age gap be closed, if not be equal. And there's other things. Heck, she even gets there's even a part in the story where she talks to Fancy Pants and he gives her good advice. So a whole lot of stuff. Whole lot of stuff out there. Whole lot of stuff. And to me it's like to me it's like I want to understand that it's like you have a problem with Rarity and Spike, but you're okay with Applejack and Spike. That's kind of weird. It's kind of confusing. It's like, okay, to each their own, fine, no problem. But yet, you rather prefer Applejack Spike over something that's pretty much officially canon and part of the official continuity, no matter if it's the cartoon or the comics, in Rarity and Spike's Sparity, because maybe Applejack and Spike's more realistic, more believable. Maybe, as I mentioned in that thing I talked about, I typed up at the forums that she'd be more willing to give Spike a kiss on the lips if, let's say, a story plot, for whatever reason, calls for it to happen, when no other pony will do it, if they're stuck in a situation or Rarity's incapacitated or something. Is that the reason? I don't know. I mean, I understand people will find different kinds of reasons. They'll find different excuses not to have Sparity and become a reality, even if they have to ship Spike with other characters. So it's 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 unusual. It's unusual to see that. So, but to me, it's more along the lines of I look at the fact that, like I said, people. Okay, it's like I said. I was just reading something there on the chats. Like I was saying, I understand people will probably ship Spike with whoever they want to ship him with, whether it's with Applejack, if it's with Ember, whether it's with Sweetie Belle, whether it's with Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, Apple Bloom, Scootaloo, Trixie, Starlight Glimmer, which is another ship people get behind, because of their chemistry and the crystalline and even beyond that sometimes. So, even though it's pretty much confirmed that Starlight's going to probably end up with Sunburst. Point is, when you look at it in a sense, people are going to ship who they want to ship with. I don't think that's a problem, but we all have a preference, and let's be honest. Let's not hide. Let's be honest. Let's not hide it. We know, like I said, Spike Rarity Sparity is officially canon. It's officially part of the continuity, and we pretty much know that if season 9 is the last season, they will find a way around this whole age gap or whatever difference, whatever people complain about, to make Sparity a reality before the show is over. Because if Gen 5 is a clean slate, then there you go. And hey, who knows? Maybe Gen 5 will open the door for Applejack Spike there if Spike's in Gen 5 with Applejack, along with this new look of Applejacks. So who knows? But again, to each their own. But like I said, I'm just trying to understand. And so again, like the title of this video says, so let me understand this. People would rather prefer Applejack Spike over Rarity Spike. Okay, to each their own. To each their own. All right. One last thing. People are asking me about my favorite anime. Well, first of all, do I know anybody else that does animes besides Bennett? Bennett the Sage. I think Rob the Wonderful sometimes watches anime, and he'll do an anime once in a while. I think Animat does would watch and review anime, so I would check them out. Let's see. Linkara through Patreon would do an anime. Viga, Viga Loves. She does anime. She's the wife of Linkara. Check her out. She does anime. It's called Idols of Anime. Check her out. She's good. And there's Anime America. Check that out. Those are the two other ones that I could think of, besides maybe the ones that I mentioned that do it on occasions when they have to. But check those out. But as far as favorite animes go, there's so many to think of. But I will put it this way. Anime-wise, from a family-friendly to mature-wise, depending on the country you live in, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one. The original Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one. The one that ran for about 4 to 5 seasons. Had a movie in the theaters. Had a new movie in theaters recently. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one. Cowboy Bebop, most definitely. I have the movie. I just don't have the complete series yet. But Cowboy Bebop. What else? Oh, back there. I don't know if you could see it. I got that last year at the Apricot Fiesta. That is an actual drawing someone did of Princess Mononoke. Yeah, Princess Mononoke is another favorite anime of mine. In fact, let me pull these down for a second. And I have a whole bunch of anime here. I have this one. I don't know if you guys can see that. Make sure you see it. Let me see. Come on. Here we go. But I have this Appleseed Alpha. Haven't watched all of it yet. But I don't know what it is about Appleseed Alpha, but it's good. It really is good. From what I understand, it's good. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, this one's an anime, but it's a DC anime, and it just came out, and it's good. It's kind of a WTF good, but it's good. Batman Ninja. That's supposed to be good. In fact, I saw a little bit of it. It looks good. It really does. And then what else do we have? Here it is. I can just move Appleseed for a second. Whoops. There goes Appleseed. This is the Disney release. There's actually a G Kids one that's supposed to be better. I might look into that one. This is Princess Mononoke. This is the first official Blu-ray release ever of Mononoke. And I saw this when it first came out on DVD. I saw this and I loved it. Loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. And then, of course, we have the collector's edition, completely uncut in high definition for the first time. It's got basically it's basically got all kinds of versions of it. Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, which is really good, really good. You got to look into that. If you have not seen it, why haven't you? I got this one, Miss Harukasha, which is a good one. This is from G Kids. Got that one. And then I have these two. Just like Zara Nizarak, I have Speed Racer, the animated series, the original Speed Racer series on Blu-ray. And then anime-wise, I got Avengers Confidential, Black Widow, and Punisher. That's pretty unique right there. Pretty nice combination. Put these back. I also have this one. This I got at my job. I was surprised we had it at my job, but we didn't have the other ones. We have Evangelicon 3.33. Evangelicon 3.33. If you've seen the first one, you'll be like, whoa. And that's called Neo Genesis Evangelicon, I believe. And then, of course, I got the 25th anniversary edition of Ghost in the Shell, which is a good one. I got Ghost in the Shell, the new movie. And, of course, Cowboy Bebop, the movie. I saw this. If you've not seen this, you have to see it. It is good. It may be rated R, but it is good. I got Digimon 3 Reunion. They have a series of these now. There's another one out I have to get. In fact, there's a few I have to get. And then, of course, I have One Piece Gold. I have not watched that yet, but I think it's good. I hear it's good. One Piece is a good series. It's got to be good. Then, of course, Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonds Beyond Time, which was in theaters temporarily. And then Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions. And then, of course, there's Yu-Gi-Oh! Pyramid of Light, which I have on DVD, which I think is going to be getting a Blu-ray soon. I don't know when, but I hear that's possible. Okay. Put these back up. But if you want one that's really going to blow your mind, well, actually, I got two more, but the Final Fantasies. It's Kingslave and Advent Children Complete, basically both Advent Children. And I have Spirits Within somewhere as well. I think it's in here somewhere. But, like I said, if you want a movie that's going to blow your mind a little bit, I recommend this one. It's called The Congress. This is really good. Well, it's really good. I mean, basically, the premise of it is good, and I've seen clips of it. The premise is basically Robin Wright, who plays herself, years later, basically signs a contract that allows her image to be used in a variety of movies and stuff for years to come. Even in movies and stuff she didn't even want to be part of or signed for, she's going to have her image as a part of that. And the way it's projected is her image is portrayed in animated form. Basically, she ends up going into this animated world where she can basically do anything, if not become anything. In fact, there's a scene. I'm not going to say what. I'm not going to say. Well, I'm pretty sure you've seen it in the previews, but there's a scene where she and what looks like to be her love interest in the animated world, basically have a moment, if you know what I mean, on the grass, on the grassy field, where after a plane's basically crashed into the ground, or a blimp's crashed into the ground, and it's on fire. And basically, like I say, they have this little moment, and when Robin lies down on the ground, she starts to grow, her hands and stuff, her fingers and stuff, start to extend into vines, and little rose petals and stuff come out of it. So if you want a movie that's going to blow your mind or make you go like, what the heck am I watching? This one will do it. But yeah, like I said, that one will do it. And I do, like I said, I have the Final Fantasy Spirits Within. I think it's in here somewhere. Yeah, I see it. It's right there. So I have that as well. But yeah, those are movies I do recommend. Some animes that I have that I do recommend you should see and everything. I also have another anime. It's tucked away in here. It's called Najika Blitz Tactics. I know Vega doesn't like it, but I would recommend it because when I first saw all three, I mean, I have all three volumes, but when I saw it, I thought it was okay. I thought Najika Blitz Tactics was okay, honestly. So if I'm you, I would check out Najika Blitz Tactics. I also have some other animes as well. Oh, yeah, I've heard of Cardcaptor Sakura. I think I think they attempted to put that on Fox for a little bit, but then they took it off because maybe I don't know if it was later on in the anime run that it got a little too adult and stuff. I can't really recall. Um, but yeah, there's other animes too, that I have. I actually DVD-R'd them as well. If not, downloaded them through torrents and put them on DVD courtesy of a Windows DVD maker. There's one called Dream Hunter Rem. Dream Hunter Rem is a good one in a sense, especially coming back around the 80s and 90s, depending on which versions you would watch. But Dream Hunter Rem is good because basically basically it's what it is. She's a dream hunter. She goes into people's dreams. She falls asleep. By her falling asleep, she goes into people's dreams and fights fights for that person and defends their dreams against whatever menace they're up against. And sometimes she'll even have to do something to give that person that she's defending the courage to stand up for themselves. There's an episode of OVA. There's an OVA of it, or one of the OVAs of a more recent one, where she basically gets blasted by this whatever she is, this nightmare monster, whatever. She gets blasted by this evil female presence, and she gets hit by it, and she starts to age rapidly as she's getting hit, to the point that Rem is just reduced to bone. She is just reduced to nothing but a skeleton that, as the villainess is gloating, crumbles. Basically, you see the skeleton remains of Rem like this going, and all of a sudden the skull part starts to crumble. In other words, to indicate, Rem is done. But Rem does this because later on you see the skeleton part not totally disintegrated, but in pieces. You see Rem doing this because she's giving the little girl whose dreams she's trying to save the courage to stand up to whatever this force is that's manipulating her or giving her these dreams. So if you want to check out an anime from back in the day, 80s and 90s somewhat, that's one to look into. Of course, it's Cutie Honey, the Cutie Honey franchise. Definitely look into that. New Cutie Honey is a good one. I got that one. I think I got Collection 2, New Cutie Honey Collection 2. And Cutie Honey, you got to check that one out because it is very funny. The new series looks promising. Cutie Honey Universe looks promising. I especially like the fact that in Cutie Honey Universe, it shows that sometimes she has to shapeshift herself into an inanimate object like a statue to just recharge. I think she did that in episode 4, I believe. She has to basically turn herself into a statue for at least I don't know how many hours to recharge. So you can look into that. There's Strawberry Panic, which is a kind of a romantic Yuri one. Well, it has a Yuri couple in it. Paradise Kiss is a good one, from what I understand. So there's that. What else is there? Excuse me. Oh, Revolutionary Girl Utena, especially the movie. If you've not seen the movie, yeah, I think you can find it here on YouTube. And there are clips. There are clips. Even I've put up some clips of a certain scene at the end that will really get you wondering, what the heck did I just watch? You know, I'll be right back. I have to turn on some lights so the family don't walk in the darkness. Sorry about that. Had to turn on some lights, like I said, because I didn't want the family to walk into darkness. But like I said, Revolutionary Girl Utena, especially the movie, it's definitely one you got to look into because, again, there are a lot of clips going on around about it, especially an ending to it that'll make you really go like, what the heck did I just watch? you know, um, and there's a few others as well. You know, there's one that I sent. There's one that I sent Zeranizor. I called come called Legend of the Womb or the Demon Womb. It's called Yatsuzudoki or something like that. It's something that he said he used to have on Laserdisc. So I was kind of surprised that he used to have it. He knew about it. So, I gave him a copy of it. And it's a very WTF anime, if you want the truth from what I understand. I haven't seen it all, but it's definitely a WTFer. There's other ones as well. There's ones that I didn't even know about until I found out about them because of the unusualness. There's Baji, the mighty monster of nature. That is good, from what I understand. That is really good, especially the animation. I hope. I'm wondering if they'll ever get. I'm wondering if they'll ever say, you know what? Let's get a good English cast together and let's translate this thing because it looks good. It looks like it's worthy of it. Even if it was made for television, it looks like it's worthy to have a translation to it. It really does. I think it does. I think it does warrant a translation down the line. And then there's 1,000,000 year trip, a 1,000 year trip called Bandar Burke, and that's kind of an unusual WTF anime because it focuses on a boy kind of raised similar in a way like Superman after he crash lands on a planet, but this planet is filled or is inhabited by shape shifting humans. They look human, but they're shapeshifters. They're different colors, but they're shapeshifters, and they could shapeshift into anything they need to be, or is necessary. And the love interest, we find out, is follows. I'm just going to call him Bandar throughout the movie, and he doesn't know it's her until the end. Because she's very protective of him. She becomes a lot of things that he needs. She becomes what's necessary. Heck, there's a scene in there where she basically turns herself into this attractive Latina girl to help him out, and he doesn't even know it's her. You know, it's like, okay, this is unusual. This is crazy. It even has an appearance by Captain Harlock in there, or something like that. Yeah, it's Captain Harlock, I think, that makes a guest appearance in there. So you can kind of guess who is the person behind that and Mighty Monster of Nature. I'm trying to pronounce his name. Um, it's Tuazami, I think. Hold on, let me check. Osami Tezuki. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Tezuki. Osama Tezuki was the one that did it. Was the one that created Bandar book. Yeah, that's the one. And yeah, yeah, that's basically who did it. And I think he also did Baji Mighty Monster of Nature. I think he did. Yeah, Baji Mighty Monster of Nature, also written by Asumi Tazaki. Asumi Tezuki. I'm sorry again if I pronounce this name wrong. So, yeah, and it basically according to Wikipedia, Baji, the Mighty Monster of Nature. There was a crowdfunder for a North American DVD was attempted at anime Souls, but was not successful. Well, maybe that can be revived in the future because definitely deserves a re-release. It really does. It definitely deserves a re-release. But yeah, that to me, To me, those are just some of the animes that I like, that I've intrigued by, that I do have, but have yet to see yet. But definitely some that I would recommend to anybody else to take a chance at as well. So definitely check those out because I think you might enjoy them as much as I would. I probably will down the line. Um, so that's about all I want to say on that. On basically on my favorite animes. I do have one last thing I want to say. One last thing. At the beginning of this year, last year, and even the year before, I talked about the fact that I feel the time has come for a female artist, female singer, up and coming, all established, I should say, to try their attempt at doing a music video similar to what Peter Gabriel did with Sledgehammer in 1986. And it doesn't matter what kind of song they have, because I believe the right song is out there for being the right song out there right now that's being sang by a female artist, up and coming or established, is going to be the perfect vehicle for for that kind of music video to happen. I could see it. I can see it, and I truly believe the time is coming. I truly believe the time is coming, and it's coming real soon. It's just that, and it's just that a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of people that hear me say that, they're always like, "Really, Brian? When are you going to give up on that? It's never going to happen." Really? Well, I have seen videos that have told me otherwise, that it's going to happen. They may not be in the same category, but I've seen videos that have a similar feel to them, if not an essence to them, that make me feel like it's going to happen very soon. It really is. And if that's not coincidence, or ironicness, today when I was on my break, Sledgehammer came on Walmart radio. And every time I hear this, I'm thinking, really? You have a billion songs on your playlist or at your disposal, and it seems like every now and then, probably mostly more than often than it should, Sledgehammer gets played. And I'm thinking, God, is this your way of telling me that sooner or later a female artist, singer, up and coming or established, is going to do a music video in the same veins as Sledgehammer's music, the Peter Gabriel Sledgehammer music video? And you know what? I think it is. I could be wrong, and Lord, you probably know I am. But I think, in a sense, that's a sign. I think, honestly, I just get these feelings, these inklings, that because it gets played so much at my job, every now and then, probably more so than it should, that I believe a music video is going to happen. I believe a female artist is going to remake the Sledgehammer music video with their own song, if not remake the song and the video themselves. I really think a female singer, up and coming or established, is going to do that. Heck, I even asked Bob Show and Raven in a letter that he read online, and he read on his show, and Raven said, and even though Bob Show never has heard about it, Raven did, and she said that she could see Pink doing it. And I could probably see Pink doing it as well. But there are others, and I think an up-and-coming female singer is probably the best choice. Who that could be, I don't know. I think FK Twigs could benefit because she's shown promise in doing something like that. There are singers out there. FK Twigs, Kira Greens with Kira Greens, I think that's Greaves, with the song "In Your Arms" has shown it can be done. So I think the potential is there. I think the female artist and singer is out there. Only time will tell, and I think the time is very, very soon. Again, some people may sit here and watch this video after it's been uploaded from this live stream and think he's delusional. Well, you know what? Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Because you know what? They've said, there's an old saying, never say never. Did I ever think that this upcoming Monday I'd be celebrating a decade on YouTube? No. So you know what? Never say never when it comes to a female singer or artist doing their own interpretation of the Sledgehammer music video from 1986 with their own song or maybe a remake of the song. I'm just saying, folks. I mean, you already have females singing and doing covers on it and even doing a video or so on it. I think the next natural step is for a remake of said video by that female artist. I really do. So, to me, I think it's obvious in my honest opinion, that it's going to happen. And I think we just got to look at it that way. I think we just got to look at it that way. So I really do. So it's just my opinion. Just my opinion. But if you know any female artists up and coming or established you think can do it, let me know in the comment section. I would like to hear your opinion. And one last thing. It seems AT&T is, I guess, dropping this whole lawsuit deal, whatever they're dealing with. They're dropping something. Let me check what it is. AT&T, who was basically a major advocate for the repeal of net neutrality, here it is. Let's see. AT&T talks to settle old allegations about deceptive, unlimited plans throttling FTC. Okay, here it is. Hopefully nothing happens here. It says here, according to BGR.com, AT&T is in talks with the Federal Trade Commission to settle a 2014 complaint that the company offered deceptive unlimited data plans to consumers, according to statements made to Reuters. The telecoms company has been arguing since 2014 that the FTC lacks the authority to regulate mobile data plans and that the job should fall to the FCC. Instead, a federal appeals court disagreed with AT&T, and the company had publicly said it would appeal to the Supreme Court before a May 29th deadline. But that deadline is come and gone, and AT&T now says that they will work with the FTC to find a settlement. That means AT&T customers who had their unlimited plans throttled might see some form of refund or credit a mere 5 years after the problems. So, yeah, it looks like that's some good news, if you will, because now it opens the door to kind of, I guess, shed some light on what people have been saying about, this whole repeal of net neutrality that right now is not going to happen, thank God. As far as we know, it kind of opens the door because basically what this does is it kind of opens the door, and I've said this before, it puts companies like AT&T, it puts companies like Verizon, it puts companies like Xfinity and all of them in a situation that basically they know possibly there's still a chance that they can get the repeal made, or they could get the repeal done or settled or made into a reality, even though right now Congress, the Senate, if you will, has pretty much put a stop to it with the passing of a bill that puts a review into act or something like that. The kind of review, CRA review, Congress action, the Congress goal, easy for me to say, the Congress Review Act. Let's put it that way. they put that into action. Now, that doesn't mean this is off the table, because the House of Representatives is another part of the Congress that could still save the repeal and keep the repeal going, and can make that repeal a reality again. But we got the June 5th elections coming up, so that might help out as well. But the point is, this does open the door, because even if the repeal becomes a reality, this is going to basically weigh on AT&T. It's going to weigh on Verizon, Xfinity, whoever, T-Mobile, you name it. And they're going to be like, you know what, and they're going to be like, you know what, we got to be careful about what we do. You know, we want to bring in these plans and all that, but we can't do it just yet. We got to make it look like nothing's changing. Nothing's happening. Let's just leave as is and show that nothing's happening. And if that's their way of thinking, they will believe that if that's their way of thinking, people will forget about what's happening, so that when people like me, you, or anybody else least expects it, that's when the packages and stuff will start coming into play. But the only reason they're going to be quiet about it right now is not just because of what happened in the Senate, but because of what's happening with AT&T right now. And that's the truth. So yeah. That's all I have to really say on that, though. And that's really all I have to say about this video. I know it got a little off. I added a little bit more than I should have. Thank you all for watching live for as long as it's been on. I know it's been on for a while. But thank you all for tuning in live. Thank you all for commenting in the chats. Really appreciate it. And that's all I'm going to say, folks. So until next time, God bless. Take care. Thank you all for watching live. Thank you all for watching post live after it's been uploaded here onto YouTube. And we are only T-minus 2.5 days, 3 days away, or 2 days away from my 10th anniversary here on YouTube. 10 years. So look forward to something happening there. So until next time, guys, take care. God bless. I am out. Thank you all for tuning in, and I am done.